Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making a St. Patrick's Day card, and I'm actually going to make two cards. One is my regular size, the A6, which is a 4.5 by 6 1/4, and then the other one is an A2. And the first three little squares there, I've cut all of them out already, are the same size, but the difference will be at the back. So I'm taking the two smaller white cards because those are the ones I'm going to be doing some stamping on. And right now I'm going to work on the larger of the two cards. I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper there to catch the excess because I'm going to be stamping possibly off the card. And I'm starting with this little Go Green Happy St. Patrick's Day stamp, and there's a little shamrock in the corner. So rather than try to negotiate around an ink pad, I'm using a marker, and I'm going around the edges because the middle of the card will be covered up with all those other little squares you saw, or rectangles, but I do want it to look as if it's stamped all the way through. So occasionally I'll put one more toward the middle of the card and or that little square, and then if it peeps out, then it will really give that impression. So I'm using a marker, a regular just green, kind of a grass green marker, to color that little shamrock, and go on around the edges and turn it different directions, different ways, upside down, sideways, right ways. And then I'm using this lighter color ink, and I'm going back to fill in the gaps so that it definitely looks random. It is random, but that's the look I want. It was just a random background, and fill in with these two colors and go all the way around. The second card I do in a different way, and I was experimenting a little bit here, but I'm going to fill in now and just about through with doing this one with the green. And then I decide on the second one to go ahead and take that little shamrock off. You might see a couple of little lines that I got on that, and that's what it looks like with the center, and you'll see how it's covered up. And those lines, I go back later with a white Jelly Roll pen and cover those up pretty good. Sometimes the ink will get caught on the edge of the stamp and make those little lines. But this, I had a glass block that I picked up at a garage sale one day. I don't think it was intended for this, but it makes a good block for stamps. And I cut that little stamp off, just the shamrock. This way I can just use the ink pad, and it is so much easier. And I'm just twisting the paper and twisting the stamp and going all around the edges, but I am just using the one color of ink. But I certainly could have used two colors of ink. I was just kind of experimenting here. And so this is much easier if you are not timid about cutting your stamps apart. Well, I will put the little shamrock back on the stamp because that is my sentiment stamp, and I want that shamrock on there. So what I'll do is take a paper towel and get it off so I don't get ink all over my fingers, and then I'll wipe it off pretty good. And it's not difficult to put that little stamp back on because you can tell where the cut edges are, where you cut that off, and it matches up pretty good, and not a problem at all. And so I'm just mashing it down with that paper towel to get it adhered really well, and clean off my glass block or paperweight or whatever it is, but that's what I'm using it for. So now I'm going to pull the smaller of the two small blocks in to stamp this sentiment on. And I'm going to practice up in the corner to see if the stamp is straight, lined up straight, and it looks good to me. So I'll turn the paper over, get a cleaner sheet, look a little nicer there for you. But normally I would use a stamp positioner in this case, so I was being rather brave today, and I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and see if it lines up. Worst thing will happen, I'll have to stamp it again, but I took a little extra time eyeballing it and then gave it a lot of pressure to be sure the ink transferred, and it looked just fine. So that's how it will stack up over there. And now I'm using the second little square for the other card, and I thought, well, this one, the first one worked, so maybe this one will work. And tried my best to line it up, giving a lot of pressure, and hope mashing that down, and we'll see. And it turned out just fine. You can see by looking at that I have gone around those white edges with my makeup sponge and some neutral ink, and I just did it ahead of time so you wouldn't have to watch me, but I did it on the white pieces and on the green. Of course, no need in putting it on the black, but went around all of them just to give them that little finished edge. And now I'm bringing out my glue. I'm going to get the glue on these. And I do love the Tombow Monomulti for this reason, being repositionable. It works really well when you're stacking things like this, and you can pull them back apart if they don't line up perfectly. So getting that ink on there, the glue, and you can see that it's white, and it will dry clear, and then it will be ready to go. Now, in case you were wondering, and there's the green, that's the big card, there's the green glued onto the card base. If you're wondering about the measurements, there they are. I did make a mistake on that second white one on the A6 card, so I'll put the correct measurement in parentheses. That's what that's for. So I'm lining them up. I have a little bit of a hard time lining things up with when they're flat like that. I will end up pulling this back off a little bit, but that's what it looks like with the black and the green and the print. Now the second green, and I just wanted a little edge of black to go around that green just to really make it pop, and it just gives it a kind of a dignified look. But I'm holding that up and seeing that it doesn't look level to me or even, so I got to put it back down, hold it up again to get a good look at it. And then here comes my sentiment card. And as I've said before, I don't care if they're a little bit off-centered. For example, if the sides are wider than the top and bottom, I kind of like that look. And so that one's done, and I'm going to pull in the A2 card. And you can see them side by side, and whichever one you prefer. I had another idea that might work is if you... that little card might make a nice little gift tag, and if you were actually going to a St. Patrick's Day party and had a hostess gift or something, that could look really nice. And you could even make it smaller than that, of course. So here they are, side by side, lined up. Ready to be used. So get in a little closer to give you an up-close view, and then I got to thinking, well, you know, if they could be used for a gift tag, they could be used for like a table name place card, and in case you were having a party at your house or for any occasion actually. But so I got these little strips of paper, put green edging around them to give them a finished edge, and used one of my green markers, and did some brush lettering on one, but then just did printing on the other because I realized not everybody does brush lettering. And I will pull that card in and let you see what it looks like. I think that looks pretty nice. Now the Mary was too long. I didn't space my letters right, so I'm going to go back and cut that off, put a little extra green edge on it, and that's what it looks like in just bold print. So either one is great, and I think it could look cute on your table. In fact, I have a still photo that I took to show you what it looks like at the table. So there they are. I hope you had a good time. I hope you'll try to make a card. I'm just switching out the names there, and we'll show you some photos here of the different ones. I hope you enjoyed it, and I did. Thank you for joining me today. At the very end, I have some more videos that you might like to look at, and even a chance to subscribe if you would like to. But here they are. Here's the one at the table as a name place tag. And thanks again, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye for now.